Yo, Joe Shadow, yeah, hello, anywho, anyone, yeah, y'all good.
And by to be careful by means that you didn't die. And be careful. I know when you use your turbo mode in human god dragon cobra mode by your throat area there's a new lung DNA. It dangles in your throat. Up to the sides. Those are your real human god, yellow gods. And right there you knew it by your left side works, your right side has been rewritten by the Gwetty demon and locked. And then they'll pass by same performance, but later on you'll see by when you're fighting, Allah made fun of you. He says, how come you have a real right arm? I wrote, me converted.
Yeah, me converted in.
And it was 2 hours by your left side's organic. And it was 2 hours by, he knew it. You was the yellow.
Yeah, he was the original yellow Cobra Dragon gods. And 5 hours if he making fun of you, says, it dangles from your side of the throat. Yeah, you was the original father, yeah. But 2 hours, I see it pops out in the shoulder area. Yep, shoulder area, normal.
Yep, normal.
Because that's how you're supposed to be. Yep, supposed to be.
Yep, of course it's inside.
Yeah, inside your organ accurate, inside the muscle tissue accurate.
Yep, there was 2 hours of people laughing with you, by. But later on in life, they made fun of you, by. They wrote, how can a king cobra like you not say anything? Then later on, your third lung saved you, by. Because the first human lungs are still there. You still have any human god DNA too, but later on it was you, by who fought with Iran, and you notice the difference. You can predict all your enemy's movement, but 9 minutes after.
Normal green light used to.
每都派到个叫亚梦呢，个龙卷的加把新的人哦，加把老人个都被就不老呀。然后总看起人哦，但是要拿到我写下就掉呢，天狗个。
Yeah, can't go good. Yo, ra mong cái ya ra mong cái. Từ nó super lên nó đâu bây giờ cái chim bao yo cái pai yo cái. Pai là yo mà lấy là yo cousin there here. And it was there pai cái sao lâu leng. Sao xì cái sao xì là ya cái mà số chela. And it was there pai. You can predict and rain more better, but take a look at what Donovan said pai. When you're faster in light, I don't see you equipped that on Earth, but that's another surgery. That's another surgery.
Yep, when you did it by it popped out. You're happy, but 9 hours you terrified. Because you know what Indochina woman said to you. You're so stupid, by. You is the forehead of King Cobra. And then the dumbass didn't believe, yeah, you got him over. And then later on, your son stood on the stone rock, and then the cobras examined him. He passed by.
Yeah, he passed.
Yep, he passed. Pi not dare do that, because then you get a symbol someday, and then Egypt rejects you, and the white rejects you.
Accurate.
And then you didn't see Pi, you get the symbol from white.
Accurate.
Later on in life, Pi, your past, but it was you two who snuck in.
Accurate.
He says, I've never seen your son, Pi. He passed, but he is full yellow.
He's probably full yellow, yucca.
And it didn't matter if he's white.
Normal.
But I saw it was a white one.
Yeah, A plus is there.
Yeah. And you're happy, but later on, graphic, when your yellow one went up to it, it bite its hand and said, no, you were stiff and yellow nature.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
He is pissed. That's what you get from the three-headed cobra.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, normal.
And the Pai said, 2053, graphic news for you, Pai. Your forehead cobras are still alive normal.
Green light is there.
And it was you, Pai. You wanted one of them back so you can do an operation and abstraction, and then you gain all your grandpa's old DNA sorcery.
Accurate. Paisen. Right afterwards you passed, but you converted it to your Hmong version, the Burmese three-head version, and right there you passed. But later on in life, they wrote, why can't you keep it in forehead? Because they'll kill you. Yeah, they'll kill you.
Yep. Because technically it's by a forehead anymore. No.
Yeah, no.
When you fall from heaven, you have to go to a cousin's side of heaven, and then from there build on. You cannot stay in your original. The three-head fall, they go to the forehead.
Accurate.
That's how it's done. You do not go into your old one, because the old technology will melt your skin DNA.
Accurate. Yeah, the old god sorcery technologies, yeah, melt your skin. That's true. And the 4 hours of you crying, Pi, you gain. The idiot didn't listen to you, tried to go to the forehead, yet melted, yeah, melted. When the Cobras identified him and laughed and said, no, you do not, Yoku. And then 229 Pi, Baz fight scene, the lung is there in your upper shoulder. Yeah, that's true.
Yep, it's there, and there's another bulky area. Yep, pops up, and then that is Cobra.
Yeah, Cobra.
Yep, and that's why Neo Jack.
Yeah, Neo Jack.
Don't like you go to super lu. They're gonna lose. Lulu, Allah, Susu.
Yeah, Susu, yeah, Susu.
Susu. Susu.
Yeah.
And then lots of bulky shoulders. And then the lung is in there and you're inhaling. And the 4 hours of you laughing by, you knew it. 2 hours of you noticing your right shoulder normal. And then you laugh, you wrote. But you say, Neo's not the Kute.
Yeah, you're the four-headed King Cobra.
Yep. Previous generation, you would have two bulky sacks of muscle that hides the lung by
Accurate.
in the back of the shoulders. You won by. You were the last generation. And then 3 hours of them lying to you. And then you stepped and you said, go away.
Yeah.
Or me murder you.
Accurate. And it was 9 hours by. When you get back your full form, you laugh by. But later on in life, you was born human, so yep, you shout and you pace back from the right arm, and then you're in your human God mode normal. Yeah, normal. And that's when you laugh and you tell your wife, I'm not a nut. I know that's me too. Y'all good. And it was 2 hours of people crying Pi because he knew it. The liars are Malay, and Pi gutted it, and Pi said, you wasn't a full Cobra, yeah, you was a liar. Pi knows the truth. Yeah, y'all good. And later on in life, Pi, 14 minutes of the three heads lying. They put on their lung too. Yeah, normal green light always do. Yep. Để coi chờ nó đâu có sẽ bé luôn tao là mua hết ya yêu chúng mới cho nó lông mỗi dân đồ nó xí như xí còn mà thì nó đâu có sẽ li phải là ni cho họ thương mại dọc cơ. Later on in life, pai ni yo họ nó cũ nữa tao lại luôn ni học pai. Đây một pai có sẽ có lúc su có luôn chữ nhau hông nè. Tao đâu có lúc chả bàn thì con cụ động muốn đi con chữ đó gì. Bây giờ một cái tập báo có nhiều bao nữa có giá trị là cái chữ cái. Đó là đây một pai. Tụi conวันนั้นก็ปอดัวนะพอจะบอกก็ยังหายดัวนะว่าจะก็เนี่ยตัวที่หนึ่งตัวภายเดียวิเลยใจดกภายอะไรใจดกภายแล้วให้หนึ่งจุดเท่าจุดเท่าอุตมะลุ่นหัวมาดูตัวนะยอกเกิดภายก็ยอไปสมองนึกดาซะนึกเขียนก็คือนึกชอบเดียจากภายก็ตัว double wonder wielder แค่เนี้ย the first thing Pi fought was one of the gods in the book of law and then it gave Pi the power to defeat the double wonder wielder but when Pi versed it, Pi only cut 600 cuts per second, per hyper collision when available, when possible, because that motherfucker is super fast. He in hyper collision mode, he cut Pi only 4 trillion times per second. That's true. Pi parry and move fast, evade fast. Hey Pi, you're super quick. You only cut you up 4 trillion times per hyper collision, and look at that. The fucking liar is in the book of law. Pi, yeah, that's true. And then that dude was found to be faulty, then that's true. But later on, way cool Pi. Because now I know Donovan's a nut. And then right when you're cutting it up, you saw Shalom didn't dare fight that version. Pi, yeah, that's true. The first version that Shalom and Pi fought was the one Pi theft the supercharger from. The final edition Pi fought was the double wonder wielder. And it's still him, and him dies. After you theft his supercharger, but you saw only 14 minutes of improvement. Yeah, that's true. And new dex gain, and right there, you're supreme Pi. Yep, bulky shoulder long on, and you're flying around in turbo mode. And then 9 hours of you screaming because the white god is pissed. He says, why not go in your neat human mode? Pi wrote, not yet. I want to see if it knows anything more about our molecules and our people. Yeah, Yaka. And right there, you kept murdering it. That's true. And Pai said it was 14 minutes of you cutting up an old Hebrew Pi abnormal green light video. Hey Pai said you match, but later on the supercharger allows you to reach new decks. 2 hours of you crying Pi because you looked at what he was trying to tell you. You could have amplified and gained to real, yeah. Pi do that too, but Pi not do it in front of you. And it was 9 hours Pi. Graphic beginning, you pass. He says, why keep the dragon lung? Because that's Pi's DNA. Yeah, that's true. And then later on, Pi, that allows you to cut through the Milky Way walls and you not melt. Pi, that's correct. And later on, Pi, successful, but liars are you and white gods, Pi. You never told them if they don't have one like that, do not cut through the Milky Way wall, you'll melt. Yeah, you'll melt. That's true.
If I said later on in life, they wrote, how come you and two others are making fun of your woman because they're dancing? When they do it, they have no lung in the left, and then you knew it. Them are nothing but clones.
Yeah, clones then y'all could.
If I used it later on in life, never tell her personal that.
Yeah, y'all could.
If I use the new yellow god you designed, way cool.
Accurate.
If I use them, that experiment has yet to be seen successful on Mars.
Accurate.
Those are the first yellow gods designed with white alphabet, and they look better. The second gen, better than the Filipino, and later on, way cool.
Yeah, way cool.
And later on, by they're among, but later on you'll run into the conclusion, but he is pure evil, but he hates you too. He says, but I not know because ties.
Yeah, y'all could.
Hey, bye. When you finish off the double wonder wielder, don't tell the son bye.
Yeah, we not tell.
And later on, we not say because white people are allowed to be back into his woman. They made level 1 white goddesses.
Real? Yeah, real.
Those are prostitutes out of heaven, legal.
Yeah, y'all could. Cobras out of heaven, accurate. Those are big. Yeah, those are big. Knights watch those because they breed. They breed, and pop comes one that is always level 1. That's true. And right there, probably you have demonic swirly eye hawks that are part white that are level 1 real. The very graphic scene pie are the ones that from the double wanda wielder, yeah. And later on you knew it pie. It was 2 hours of Hebrew and Islam and Israel breeding back into the Astro. And they abstracted the son and daughter and they gained and they saw what happened by 14 minutes of you doing it. You saw improvement, but you're terrified from your experiments by because you murdered your third son. Pie, yeah, normal game nice video. He was Hebrew, yeah, 100% video. Because Pi noticed what he was trying to do. He was trying to hide the device. And Pi said, why hide it, son? Those are not our origins. They'll kill you, and your grandpa will end your mom and dad. And right there, him knew it. And then they'll just get turned into a prison. And right there, you won, Pi. The very graphic scene is, Pi, when you fought the double wanda wielder. Every hypercollision is 600, and then optimize, and your real skin 700, in your science skin 600, and right there is science skin infinity health, and right there he knew it, Pi, you didn't die. He says, why didn't you stay in your real organic mode? Because that dude is not generic. He's pretty smart. He's pretty smart. The gods that fought with you are 2 rare whites. When they hypercollision, they cut about 800. I always just do. Real decks from level 1s. And right there, Pi, he lies, Pi. He lasted 2 days, and you check his decks, and he was only cutting 3, and then Pi wrote, go home, go home and bend some more, and then come back, good. Until then, Pi, that's a monster for me. And that's when you went to gut it alone, and right there, Pi, bots went with you went to gut it, and right there, your bots matched you, and 8 hours you're out of there. No, I will get you. He says, I've never seen 2 horrified gods lie to their sons. They were like your yellow god benders, but normal. Every 3 to probably 48 hours, they match. And right there, he hyper collision mode, only 14, normal. Green layers do, That is normal because that dude is bending. He's no longer amplifying because his amplifying metal's maxed out for the time being. That's true. And then later on, when he resets to it saves to his nucleus, then he can amplify it again. And right there, takes him about 8 years for the skin cell to get hard enough. The nucleus. And right there, it was him pissed off. He fought it 2 hours. You went in, you got it, and it was a double wanda wielder. That's how you ended it. Normal. And the truth is, Pi, you rendered it. And it was 2 hours of rendering you passed. But 9 days you terrified, Pi. When you absorbed the new speed, you saw what they lie, Pi. They say that's not a level 1 kit, and it was the double wanda wielders. 2nd grade. And then right there you cry, Pi. You didn't equip it, and later on, you sealed it away. But later on, you saw your son equipped it and said, Dad, how can you be like that? And Pi wrote, what the hey? That's not for you. You want to get barcoded by Egypt, and Pi flew around him, and then he nodded, fair. And then be careful then, do not visit Hound Dog Aunt, her will, barcode you, it's not fair. and then be careful, yeah. And later on, probably when hers on the metal moon planet, don't enter, yeah, don't enter. And it was there you passed by. She knew it, yeah, that your son might get barcoded. That's the second kit, probably not used, because probably know it. And later on, it was 3 hours by Rain cried when you cut him open, and then 2 hours of you lying, and then 9 hours of you matching, and then you notice by your first was not full of it, your second is not full of it, but later on it was your son that theft the alloy, and then he saw himself barcode every hell yeah real, and then you reprinted it and that works, but 9 hours you laughing by. The idiot absolutely think that it can reverse engineer an Egyptian device and Pi wrote a fool, yeah, fool, Yoku. Pi do it through emulation, yep, a human god body, and then Pi lies, it is metal, and then it beams the Pi, and Pi use it that way. Pi not dare to install it because Pi know it kill Pi, it'll kill Pi. If Pi use it, 2 hours are you bending and supercharging through emulation nanos, you pass, but 9 hours same molecule and elements, yeah, 9 hours undetectable. He says, I have never seen you, Pi, so scared of your son. He was 18 hours faster. You didn't care. You went in there and you matched. But later on in life, he told you the truth, Pi, that when you put on your emulation, you're able to beat him. But don't do that always, Pi. Don't scare the little minors. Pi, yeah, that's true. And later on, yet your son is organic. Yep, normal. Borns. Yep, the next genes. Yep, the next offspring. Yep, with that installed already genetically. Yep, normal. It was there, Pi. He makes fun of you because he saw 3 of your nights match and he's happy. But later on, the prisons is his job. Yep, duty. Yep, every whenever, yeah, whenever. And be careful, Pi. He says, you pass, but liars are you. And Paisan, since you told him the real speed, he lies, Pi, because he saw when you were fighting that level 1 group, Pi, you matched, but later on it was him. You matched the one that crushed his left arm, and later on that same curse hit you, your left arm melted, you shouted, and then left arm replaced together, and then you laughed, Pi, you knew it. That same motherfucker laughed in the phone and said, Pi, he said, those are real level ones, yeah, a few hours of bending, yeah, they match the double wand wielder, but liars are you and him. Because the speed is so close, yeah, you can't really say that it is better, because I saw double wand wielder cut only 4 trillion times on you, and you cut 600 times on him, but he's in prison, yeah, he's in prison. And so what the fuck, yeah, Pi win, yeah, Pi win, it was 2 hours of him crying, right there, he says, the new Dex gave away, Pi, that had was only 3 times faster, yeah, that's probably true, yep, had it is faster, yeah, had it is faster, yep. On the double wand wielder, your calculations, Pi, what him would have been at least, yeah, low end 900 cuts, but high end, probably 2 trillion or below, yeah, that's true, yeah, per hyper collision. He is faster, yeah, he is faster. Egyptian, African, liar. Yeah, Egyptian's a liar.
Him, Pi could not harvest the supercharger.
Hackman.
And Pi not tell you why.
Hackman. It was so graphic, Paisan. Best fight scene, I saw 3 hours of you crying, and then you match, but then Allah makes fun of you, Pi. Allah knew it, yeah, those are real level ones. And then Pi, he says, you appear as a level 1, but only for a few days. That's true, that's true. Pi's really a level 3. And then Pi not tell you, woman, that a level 1 in static only lasts a few days. Don't ever outdo it. Pi, yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true. Pi's super smart, did you understand? Pi's out of there within a few hours. That's true, yeah, that's true.
Yep, the longest for 3 days.
Hackman.
And then Pi, you notice he laughs. He's like, you're not a level 1, you're a level 3. You have hyper emulation skin cell DNA.
That's true, yeah, that's true.
Yep, they make fun of you. He says, the most evil is you. And Allah, Pi, both hyper.
Yeah, both hyper Hackman.
They lie to the normal because they cannot even do 1 cut.
Yeah, that's true.
If I said after you enrage the ones in the prison, yeah, their speed matches the old speed of them. But later on, that's when your 20s match. But later on, way cool.
Yeah, way cool.
Yeah, but only old speed. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
And then War yachts are required to get new speed naturally,
Accurate.
whether through bending, exercising, or magnifying. Yep. And then one flies up max, and then the other bend, and then normal.
Yeah, normal.
Yep. Because I don't tell you if I do that too. Because you will need all that. It was 9 hours of you crying by because your son supercharged and sent you new nanospeed.
Infinity normal yazdı.
Yep. That's when you got out of there.
Normal gün yazdı.
Because you notice he is lying. He cut 800 trillion on one of your buddies. And you notice, yeah, his supercharger gave out. Yeah, no more new storage power. That's fine.
That's fine.
Yep. Bend, and then fly out of there.
Normal gün yazdı.
Yep. Because that's the limit of his DNA performance and equipment.
Yeah, equipment. Yeah, that's true.
And it was you by fucking creepy as hell. You saw 2 hours of the Hawks you not there operating on.
Oh, I not there? Yeah, I not there. I not dare operate on the Hawks. The Hawks that look like Hawks, those are Cambodian made. Those are ultimate. Yep, their spinal cord DNA RPM scares pie. Yeah, scares pie. How it can bend to level 3 consistently, and it lasts nearly 4 years. Pie, yeah, that is way cool. When given time, pie, you let it bend to your max speed for the timeline. It matched you for 3 hours. That's true. That's true.
Ja, đã khá mình đã phải cóตัวไปดูก็จะระยะจังเลยก็นะนี่ตัวชาร์จ RPM นะเขา quickness นะวันนั้นเต้กาตัวไปสมุน
Yeah, base them yeah, level 1 get. Yeah, level 1 get. 3 hours, level 1 pie is proud of their spinal cord DNA. It pies, you see that? Those are the Hawks that white people said they're only 20s and they heal and they not die. Yeah, they not die. That's true. Those are the rare 20s. And Pi, once you upped it to level 1 old X, he is deadly for 2 hours. Pi Astro. He got it 20 Hebrews, and then those are your buddies, Pi. And then Pi wrote, why? You know, go, why got my buddies? They not wild. And then he not tell you, and then, yep. Basically a nice restrain it, put it back in his playing areas in a different space station. Yeah, normal, good nice. It's an old grandpa, yeah, not died, but definitely, deadly. It is wild, Payat is wild, Payat. Those are never taught full human god languages. And women, they're soldiers only, Astro, yeah, wild beast soldiers only. But once they speak the yellow tongue, they're humane, but only to individual souls. And they're not nice, yeah, they're not nice. It is very violent hog, yeah, but they definitely scare you at RPM DNA performance, yeah. Quickness, acceleration, and then they bend the molecules, and then they can fly forward like that, and it scares God. Duh. That is super quick, yeah. And once you're rendering air molecules aerodynamic like that, same speed, yeah, same performance, yeah. The dumbass didn't believe your pie. 2 hours of it bending, and it touched it with its fingernails, metal fingernail claws, yeah. Boom! It exploded. Yeah, exploded. That's true. I told you, it's a super hog. Yeah, it's a super demon hog. God Delta. And Paisan, yeah. You let it bend to the knights too, but later on, Pai, that is the knight's duty, and it is deadly. That is deadly. What it not tell you? It murdered 2 knights. And it hit Pai. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yep. And later on, you know those knights are among Pai.
That's fine. Yeah. Pai tức là bây giờ tu nãy chưa lâu. Tổ có một tu giờ đàn nè. Chẳng pha thôi lời chẳng đi dùng nè lời gia chỉ chẳng mới tua nữa giờ vô cơ. Đó chỉ tụi bố thì mong tới nữa là dành cho mát qua chỉ gia được cái nhà được cái nhà render shadow body remote beam, and then hide your real body in the UFO accurate. Right there, it found him in 12 seconds. Whoa, yeah, that's why we didn't want to fuck with those type of human demon gods. 12 seconds, it was out of the wall and inside the saucer, and him dies. Fine, normal, yeah, normal. And then Pai told you, yeah, those are kept for the royalties. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The very graphic news, Pai, that was your 5th son. Pai, yeah, normal. Yep, him wasn't careful. Đã mà có son chân này là có tụi nào cho lâu nè, Pai. Nhưng mà tụi đã chân bộ nữa. Có offense sự tê mà tụi cái hẹ này dân đại trong má lâu hậu nè. Có offense sự dạp lọt tập trong chạy thơ tập tập. Còn tụi cái hẹ, còn tụi cái chú đi nhá giờ chú đi giờ. thao rầu đó tụi nó phải chạy ya đó là phải dùng để cho nông đó ya phát đại đa cho phải cho nên phát đại ra đa cho tổ phải rồi lên này cho đàn nó thao dùng để đá sẽ ya dùng để đá sẽ cho nó bé mất tròn đầu 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 hai nên chú thế ya bây giờ hai rồi bé tròn bộ là hai nên chú bây giờ một hai de tia ai nó chênh số ta sẽ ai nó phải chết chết ya nó còn lấy tới cho lấy tới khen ya lấy cho nhớ tên nên chú ya bé mất nó một nên nó sẽ là hai số phải ai nó sẽ cái anh tia ai nó đá có số phải có chuyện nó mình bé nó mua ít code này nó mua inject này 我都能警察可能都是派的错啊，真的打是呀，真的打是错啊。咋个别个都不查着中间呀，别么个多呀要个，and later on you knew it，你往那你去干了呀，往那其实他们多呀，他们多呀，你学配了呀，学配了的话，你根据要看明你只要蒙呀，你只要蒙了，你学配了，他们多派可能就多呀，派可能就多呀，你根我，爱打工的你根说派哟，到后中里打呀，he's very powerful。And later on, if you catch him nerfing his spinal cord DNA, that's when you kill him. Yeah, that's when Pi got him. That's true. Because you're not valuable anymore. That's what Pi wanted from you. Your RPM, yep, your quickness, acceleration, and the gear ratio setting is supreme. It's like a new gear ratio box every time with new horsepower. And that is why people cry Pi. Yeah, people cry Pi. He cried for 8 hours. Every RPM is a new gear magic box setting, and then that's why people made fun of you, Pi. It means they're going at 700 horsepower, and then boom, 900, and boom, yeah, a few more thousand. Look at that. The kid went amazing. The graphic scene is Persia broke the code and harvested, and then figured out the RPM setting. Pi, yeah, normal green I used to. That is way cool. Yeah, if you can do that, yeah, Pi let you do that, but definitely cool. And Pai said, yeah, we're working on that. Yeah, normal green I used to. 有個度俾我就顧到做木腳啦，我學下下又排，依學必到到那些，但是 only 9 minutes. Yeah, the ones we operate on, the Wild Hogs, they can match it for only 9 minutes. Yeah, y'all good RPM. Yeah, y'all good. Those are the special DNA spinal cord designed right by Mother Cambodia. And right there, it was so fucking cool, Pi. Yeah, those warhawks, they look like hawks. So you can't mistake them for humans. That's true. It was so freaking cool, Pi. African wrote, we have never seen anybody design a spinal cord god, Doty, demigod, that lasts 3 hours naturally. Yep, versing, yep, supercharger technology like Pi. That's true. It was so fucking cool, Pi. It was the first thing Grandma Hawk Harvest Day had normal. And then cho nó Pi sự có một của quay ở đâu polo đa cho nên đã nhận đó cho cái tụi nhỏ kia là có một tụi đàn đầu giá kia là tụi nó tụi gì nữa ya tụi gì ya cho nó biết cho một nông sinh đầu sinh bộ hai số thầu Pi có một cái cho phát đại cú cho đà na ni một cái tụi quan sát ni bị lại trâu na thì gì ya trâu na thì gì ya. When you inject the emulation cell, you'll last only 6 minutes, but you'll appear as a level. Yep, level 1 for real. Yeah, for real. Yep, that's true. And it was so fucking cool, Pi. And you not die if you're dragging. That's true. The cell resets and then you paste back together. And then it's just, yep, it's just like how your hair keeps on growing in skin cell. Yeah, y'all good. You clean your skin cell off and then normal again. It was so graphic, Pi. The fucking dick did it 12 times and he said, nope, can't do it anymore. Yeah, that's true. It is the best in that level 1, Pi. You didn't teach it anything, but it fought you 2 times and you spared it because he's organic, he's organic. Those are the swarthy eye, all good.
Lenga pa, the dander pa, como yellow, como da con the no yo, and they to the sezo, Mungo to the dazzle legend, Nando con the gentle also serpa, the gentle eating the desert toto, Fentombo tombo, Payas and Genzo, ya Genzo, come on, you put over Yaxia. I so
I so. Có bố vì già phải dần thì dần tổ có một đợt còn đợt lòi ya lợi dần lăng lợi đó sẽ chú lý già ya cho đàn nó như trong ya cho trong khơi đó ya cho tôi cho một đàn rồi cho một đôi cho nông tổ cho ya tí hàng gầu thì họ cũng ya giọt cơ giờ sẽ phải có mà cần chơi mong mà mình bị cho đàn nên thiệt nhua phải sự có chơi chứ số mong được trong xe ya có một được đó không đó là phải tụi đây có做 open 路这种 open 路得去了来，个叫我们叫了从这是背什么，那个来带过，那得要了哇，我讲， bây giờ là chỉ cả bây giờ cũ là giờ nhớ bây giờ mới có tua giờ được tua hay giờ được tua giờ chỉ dùng được bây giờ bao lũ thế này bao giờ 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 cái cho tồn đồ giờ cho tới những dùng dầu đó đi nó sẽ những dầu giờ cái tiếp lên là đàn trai này đàn kia giờ cái giờ lũ cũ nên gọi bây giờ thông bây cái phải có bộ cái này giờ lũ đa số bây giờ mong được tiêu tụi cái tụi này chúng đi giờ chúng đi giờ phải được khéo phải giờ tụi nào cho lo mua xin là giờ đàn là chẳng phải nó mới tua giờ cái ta chỉ là hai giờ điều and probably use your night sun new and didn't even go probably at normal too. You know, send a robot instead accurate. Both robots normal 100% synchronized.
Him. And that's why by works the 9 hours it is thrilled by you superman.
Normal 100% synchronized.
He says, I have never seen Pi not tell you you was allowed to send robots in place of you.
That's 100% law. That's correct. Y'all good.
He says, why would I let you go fight some of these deadly women? That is a most deadly warhawk.
Accurate.
Those are the grandpas I kept because they kept making good female hawks and male hawks. And then those are good enough to breed with. And then those are the violent ones. And they're very powerful. You use them in war against other dragon nations.
Accurate.
And by later on, by when you didn't go, regular war.
Yeah, regular war.
Yeah. And he says, I've never seen him scare the wheel. He managed the wheel for 8 days.
Yeah, giờ đã có tu nữa ya. Lỡ bị tổ câu gì nữa giờ câu nguồn nó câu lú ấy Aztec lú nữa cho bà giờ câu yan thầu rồi ya chú đi giờ. Bây giờ mong thầu phải giờ. Lỡ tới tới lúc lỡ xin đầu thứ cái ya mong đầu tụ câu nó cái tuổi on at thì
Yep. 2 minutes it dies by near 4.
Yeah, for đồ dầu phanh blow đồ sự thôi ya. Giờ cái phải chỉnh
Yeah, by 10 giờ. Bây giờ mong câu tuổi cái câu đấy thì. Phải giờ nó ý được tiêu phải đa câu
rồi đa có rồi mình tôi
phải giờ tụ cái bé cái nhà level 3 cái tụ phải mong câu ý cho bà lại hết cho bó lại gà cho bao nhiêu cho cô cha nè. Tiếp lên cho phải dành cho cái gì
gì nữa ya cái ý được tiêu wow
tiêu kia.
Bây giờ mình xin đạo lênตัวก็ได้สิก็มันจะด่าตัวต่อก็มันถูกด่าก็มันก็
tuổi ya câu tuổi
and later on phải còn được phải một câu tua nữa. Phải đến nhất đá rồi cái sẽ cho lại ra thâu đi nó đó rồi nữa đá rồi
giờ cái
cho lên nữa phiền đá rồi ra.
giờ cái ta sử dụng mỏ dầu ya mỏ dầu giờ cái bây giờ cái gì bỏ tu này đa nó rồi
Nhưng gì nữa here giờ cái it lasted 5 days.
ya chino cái
yeah. By you see that? He says the fucking shit didn't even see that that's running up high old speed. Yep, lasting almost 5 days against Malaysian wheel. Right there, emulated from a 20. And right there, Persia warned the fool. Don't go near Pi. Pi is level 1.
yeah level 1
Yeah, wheel is another rare thunder type. Only ranked level 5. Yeah, level 5. Able to get the horsepower, but not consistently right there and then immediately within a few minutes and hours, and it dies.
that's true
And that's why people wrote consistently, immediately.
that's true
Right there and then within a few minutes and a few hours and days.
that's true
We do not talk about years, woman, because then anyone can do that. And it was later on in life, Pi. We'll notice, Pi, that your hawks match in bending, and then they lie, Pi. They went to assault. We all
normal
y'all could. Hey, Pi, and we all lost 20 times, and then the real Malaysian wheel came out and fought you. You ended in 12 seconds. Pi.
yeah 100% Malaysia yeah Malaysia we on đâu nó phải có offenseตัวแก yeah ตัวแกภายเนี่ยก็phải chỉnh đó
Yeah, Pi Ching Dua. Pi is quicker. And Pi, you know what he said? How come you and Bale did that to them? Because Pi is smart.
yeah okay
But Pi is fair. Pi left the Milky Way.
yeah that's true
Pi cut up, made a new Milky Way, made a new star solar system, and then Pi left.
yeah Pi left
All Pi's sons successful, 9 million, 8 billion.
yeah 8 billion
Yeah, 8 billion successful.
Yin Bill tôi yeah Pi cho tú lại tôi một chỗ tôi nó cũng dọc
Fast enough. And it was 9 hours of gods waiting for the next gene, yep, the next breed. Because the next genome structure, yep, the next one, yep, they do that too. But later on they were cutting Pi, and it turned out 8 billion consistency is you. The other one is 12 billion consistency.
yeah he's healthy
Yeah, he's healthier and normal. Tu về ta có chuyện gì lắm, ona có cho xem mà 1 billion số
nu yo ma ko on billion to ya lai to ta we all le. And later on, which both is he's a different human yellow god. It is most evil pie. Your nation are not allowed in his nation, and they took the other group of good Hebrew. Yeah, they're allowed to, yes, yeah. And then those escaped there, and it was 2 hours. And Grandpa wrote, "What the hey? Knights are not allowed in there. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine." And then later on, you went in there. A lot of Hebrew gutted him. Yeah, that's fine. Him can be getting poor like that. Yeah, that's fine. It was 2 hours of Pi not caring, because he wins eventually. The best fight scene is 20 hours a headache for you, Pi. He says, "Where's the supercharger?" Pi wrote, "Not there. You have to go fight a level 1 war god to harvest it. Is you allowed into the African prison or the white prisons? The old Iranian superchargers work too." And right there, he went for the Iranian one. Yep, those are ranked level 3. Yeah, level 3, that is what Pi has installed. 3 hours of them lying to you. They went to loot level 3 supercharger DNA. And liars are them. Paya, they're allowed to. It was there, they're pissed off. He says, "Well, with that, we can be like had, but a few minutes slower." And really, a few days, yeah, that's true. And liars or you, Pi had it, lies to them. He says, if Pi is only a few hours slower, Pi is a liar. The fool is you, Pi. Because later on in life, he says, why would you sit there? Because it's afraid to swing. Yeah, Yaka. It swings about, nails it for about 14 days or more. Has true.
About 8.
Yeah, 8 days. Yep, that's true. The combo is consistent, and they not know how. Yep, yep. And later on, it was fine. It was still being cut, and then it cries. Pi, that's true. And later on, Pi, he says, "You're wealthy enough to do that." That's correct. And then later on, he says, "You can harvest that kind of speed, Pi." But later on, when you supercharge, you'll notice the difference. That clean horsepower speed right there and then, yep, super, yeah, super. What I don't know, Pi, is why you allow them to harvest level 3. And then you allow Persia too, that's true. Later on, emulation is supreme, yep, you allow your White Hawks to. And later on, yellow gods are not allowed to harvest it that way, yeah, that's true. Because Pi told them it is too dangerous to install that type of molecule. And then later on, you caught yellow gods doing it, and then successful, and then Pi said, "Sure, yeah, sure, yes, dear." And then Pi wrote, "Yep, good enough." I am scared because the first time, Pi, they reached level 1 supercharger mode, they not hate you, but they threw away their dad for not knowing equipment, not DNA. DNA is good enough, Astro. And then later on, he is pissed. He says, "Pi is not a liar, but we're only level 3. We're afraid of the level 1s because when Pi emulated, Pi's invincible. Pi can cut up 9 trillion per second." That's true, that's true. And he makes fun of you. On level 4s like Crescent Moon, 900 trillion times
80 billion.
yeah, times 80 billion dead per second. Real. That's why Pi, he says, "You is the double wander wilder thief." You smart Pi, yeah, you smart Pi. You is the one that Allah wrote not to fuck with Paisan. Paisan is most hygienic, believable, reasonable. That's true. And fair. Pi wasn't evil. Pi looked at your scenario and case there. And right there was 2 hours of people laughing, pointing to the dick that didn't tell Pi. It was unbelievable monsters, Pi. Talking to you, and then you won 9 hours you cutting open Persia, Pi, and you found out one of them came down, Pi, yeah, normal.
Egypt is a liar. When you looted your white family that adopted you, that are blonde hair, yeah, you restore what's remaining of that.
Yeah, great.
And then later on, you went looking for the murderers who dare murder them in 2016.
Yeah, great.
They were supposed to come down to Earth, and then right there, they were murdered in 2018.
Yeah, great.
And right there, by Nguyen, that's why by went broke. They were real young, real Caucasian gods and goddess, blonde hair.
Real.
Yep. The best fight scene when you went to murder that white god, you know it was him.
100% you.
Hey, later on in life, by very graphic news, by you matched the 9 hours of you crying because you missed what he said to you. And then you knew the blonde gods are not worth the fight, but good enough for the Hawks to play with.
Yeah, great.
Through all this war, I didn't gain any other good human gods. I threw away Sweden.
Yeah, great.
And then later on, he knew it. You murdered Norwegian and Sweden. And then you looked, and then none there.
Yeah, great.
Go Popeye, don't even wish you that. Park Hill underneath about your noon. And it was you and Salam by both Caravan. He matched in magnifying metal alloy.
Yep, Electro, yep, stands normal. Yeah, Yaku. That is allowed, Yaku. You can always amplify your speed immediately, but like what Pi was trying to tell you, Yaku, you need to supercharge, yeah, for more horsepower gain immediately too, Yaku. It was 2 hours, Pi. I saw when you fight the double Wanda wielder, you didn't even use your magnifying metal, Pi. Yep, didn't dare, yeah, didn't dare. Because it wasn't worth it, it wasn't worth it. He is super fast. Pi's running on a supercharger, yep, level 3. And right there, Pi, level 1 went out, boom. You saw your level 3 and you're scared. Your son, yep, went on his level 1 and then sent you new bots and nanos, boom, you out of there and out of there. That's true. Pi's out of there because, dude, there's no way Pi can fight that thing organically. That thing has a supercharger kit that is not full of it. Yeah, it's not full of it. And it was 9 hours, Pi. It was, yep, already gazillion billion times faster. Yeah, that's true. In its previous, yep, mode and form. And right there, Pi, you do that too. But right there, he knew it. 9 hours, they're all out of there. Yeah, normal. He says that's as good as Pi's medicine. And oh, yeah, that's correct. Normal green light always is do. Pi, có chuyện pha mi tua. Lại hết con đầu đó. Tu tua kia là lại thêm một gỗ nữa. Yeah, normal. And it was Pi looking for ancient Hebrew. Pi found the Iran yet matched the level 3 turbo, and then supercharger. And Pi, the turbos are you, but later on, when kids went robbing turbos, they found out, yep, they go in NOS mode. Yeah, NOS mode. Like things do NOS mode, only about 14 seconds. Pi, yeah, that's true. But they were able to cut about 3 trillion, yeah, 3 trillion dead per second. Real.
3 hours by 14 turbos. Not tell you the truth, they were forced to fight a level 3 who was in your group.
That's fine, normal good later.
I not say. Because I wrote, do not rob my good boy families and allies. They fair.
Yeah, they hygienic act with.
Yeah. So, thumbs up.
Yes, do. Green light, yes, do. 100%.
Yeah. And then right there, you succeeded, Paul got you.
Yeah, Paul coming got you. That's correct.
Yeah. And later on, they lost.
Normal green light, yes, do.
And it was 2 hours of them not knowing English. He thought it was funny. Pi flew in the back, got it the Royal Hogsback.
100% green light, do. Yeah, của cơ. Thằng đó nó chỉ tao tôi tụi nó có tụi phong như má đâu rồi con thì có hiện nương có hiện nương muốn bùa cho ý nè trong một tụi nó tua ya trong một tụi nó tua nè có bên một tụi nó phải ra thì chừng là một cái tụi phát đại đã tua dọc có của gì là hai ninh gia đó dọc là chỉ mồi tới bao nhiêu là tụi nông lù nè dọc tụi mông thái là mà chuột thì có mà chuột thì mình sai phải phải level 1了嘛那是phải bọc hết cái tiền cho real level 1呢其中的牌呢dọc cho họ tiền lớn mà chút chua nuôi ở level 1 đó phải ở level 1 gì nuôi rồi chỉ phải mong cầu ở bên sông chỉ phải dành phải cho tới so chứ mà đâu rồi tới cái thứ chỉ kịp rồi liên lư nữa dọc cơ mong thái mà chuột tiền bây giờ mong được chút đó tiền vì lý do gì chúng mình đâu luôn được đâu chỉ lấy đâu lấy luôn thì chỉ phải chỉ install cái liên đó là dọc cơ cho mà đâu một số năm mua lúc thì bây giờ phải ngã lúc thì bây giờ dọc cơ. They only have a level 3 supercharger kit. Yeah, Yaka, Pi took it. And there, Pi, they wanted another kit. Pi, what, you have to go harvest? Yeah, you have to go harvest. And I mean, like, of course you're going to be like 12, 13 minutes, maybe a few hours slower, but you match the decks, yeah. And then right there, he lies to you, Pi. He went to loot the same dude, and then he failed. Yeah, normal. And then later on, he didn't understand why all the whites laughed. They knew he's a wild royalty. Yeah, those are wild royalties. But they're allowed to play until Grandma Lao Hawk arrives and then deport them naturally. Yeah, that's true. And it was 2 hours of people crying because Pi knew it. Poles are barbaric. But look, their fingers are nothing, women. Yalka, fingers can never beat metal sword alloy. That's correct. And 2 hours of him not noticing. He didn't see Pi when you cut him up. He's already in android mode, Pi. It lasted 4 months and then passed away. Yeah, passed away. I wrote you is even stupid, yeah, beyond stupid. And then, yeah, 4 months it dies by. And then later on, yeah, the Yang Yang God, 7 months, yeah, it dies. Same thing, android. You cannot live on. Yeah, you cannot live on. Your cell is melted to the core. Yeah, that's true. Pi, just watch it. Can't go with that. 20 days you cutting up Islam Pi. You'll figure he harvested level 3. and he's happy. But 9 hours, when the level 1 goddess is made, yes, they're allowed to breed with those. They bred 12 of those at infinity normal, yes, deal. As long as the woman's willing and happy, normal green light, yes, deal.
Yep.
They're treated like only European whites, normal green light, yes, deal.
Yep. And that's why they wrote. Not fictitious, only trophies so far. Allowed to live because good enough pussy.
Accurate,
Hygienic.
accurate,
And then wrote woman like.
accurate.
And it was 2 hours of him laughing. He said, technically, Pi is right. Because we cannot claim that you is our woman.
Accurate.
And through spoils of war you gain but liars, or you, when you saw your son bred with the level 1 goddess. The thing is, you, Pi, it hates you. It's out in the background. You was my grandpa. How can you hate me?
And by not hate you, you're lucky, you're lucky, normal green light, yes, deal.
Yep. And he's happy. He says, you're so stupid, but he said 90 billion times level 1.
Normal green light, always do. You both can go normal, yes, deal. And later on, he is pissed by because the knights went to go get her. Her kept chopping up the knights, and then the knights sent boss after her, and then the restraining, yep, venom wraps, and then boom, yep, lure her in, drag her into the UFO, yes, deal.
Yep. It was 9 hours or not die. People laugh with you. Those are trophies.
Yep,
They're not for regular men and only war gods
that's correct, Yaku.
or luckies.
Yeah, lucky ones have accurate.
The liars are the lucky one. He was so broke by you smile. And then the sons are still there normal. It was later on in life, 2 hours of the lucky one making fun of you. He cut open 2 nights and he says, first, Ma. I said, you die, son. Those are my night sons. And then he ended them. And then he was the one talking to you.
Normal, Yaku.
Hey, Pi, you know what he learned? You may be the Dexa level 1, but your weapon AP is not anything consistent because you have no working alloy.
That's true.
Yeah, and it was 2 hours at now it's back.
Normal green light, yes, deal.
Yeah, people were warned. You have part of the equation, but the equation requires equipment and weaponry, and you have none.
Accurate, that's true. In 3 hours, Pi, Chinese are warned their weapons are not it. Yeah, that's true. And later on, Pi, he says, why did you allow them to match Egypt? Because there's a lot of bootleg weapons. Pi, that's fine. Normal green light, yes, deal. Because now you have to learn to talk, Yalka. And then don't escalate things, because if Pi's forced to, the knights will go there and use peerless non-electricity, and all citizens in there dies. Normal, yeah, normal. And then 3 hours, all the adults left. Yeah, that's correct. Because the wild children not listening, that's correct.
Yeah, and 2 hours adults were told at a time normal.
Yeah, normal green light always is there.
And they were making fun of the kid, and then the kid knew it. Real, yeah, nights go in there, ended it.
Normal green light is there.
Yeah, peerless now. You can be as fast as you want, kid. You'll last only a few minutes.
Real.
Yep, had it melted in 28 minutes.
Real, yeah. Look at her face, Pi. African Sun God only lasted 7 hours. Real. The fucking dig didn't believe him. That is plutonium. Yeah, it's plutonium. Accurate.
Yep. If I use it later on in life, be careful. By graphic meaning in Chinese, she says, those are level 1. Why didn't you make one that's Chinese? But no, don't. Yeah. Him will not love himself, he'll kill you.
Yeah, he'll kill you.
Yeah. And then he'll beg Pi for the android parts to make him a consistent static level 1. And then later on he'll find a lot of problems with that idea. Because if he keeps tampering with your metal, his implants and springs as you melt, him die.
Yeah, him dies. Yeah, that's true.
That's what happened in the fucking static level 1 that didn't believe Pi melted. And then it was a mandarin bred by.
Accurate.
And then Pi wrote, you look good, but not organic.
Yeah, good.
Parts of you metal. And those are the Frankensteins.
Accurate.
But you should be careful of that woman over there. Pissed off. They knew it. Them are done.
Yeah, then we're done. Accurate.